I'm recording on my phone this morning because I charged my camera all night last night to make sure it was ready for today. And of course I didn't put the memory stick in, so I hope this does justice. It is around 6:30 in the morning and we are at the hospital waiting for them to open because we have the first appointment of the day. Anyways, our doctor's office is right here and we are just waiting for them to open. I have my CD and the report, and so we'll find out what he's gonna say. Just got back from our appointment and I'm so exhausted. I'm freezing out and I have this nice blanket because I'm about to go take a nap. We were up at, well, I couldn't sleep last night. I got up at like 3 in the morning. I got up at 4 in the morning, and finally at 4:30, I was just like, forget it. I set my alarm for 5 and I just got up and started getting ready. I was so anxious for this appointment today. Got a lot of really good information that kind of cleared everything up. It was the appointment that I really wanted and was hoping for. First of all, I just want to say I love the urologist we are seeing. He seems so knowledgeable. He had a lot of good feedback. He explained things super well, and I feel completely entrusted in his hands. I gave him our report and the CD, and he was really thankful for the CD, so thank goodness I was able to get that. He kind of looked everything over and explained what he saw, so I'm going to explain it to you guys. Basically, this is a drawing of what he made us, and these two right here are the kidneys. This is the bladder, and then this is like where the urethra is. So on the right side kidney, everything looks fine. There's one uterus that's going down. Oh, he thinks this is what's happening because he said it's really hard to see an ultrasound through mom, through baby, and then into her organ system. But from what he can see, this is what he thinks is going on. It's one of two things, and this is the one that he thinks that it is. So basically, on here, there's two uterus that were developed into her bladder. And on the bottom hand one right here, there's like this little like circle or balloon like feature, which is basically a blocked duct clogging everything, so it's making it impossible for it to come out. Now, as I mentioned before, she was 23 millimeters dilated, her kidneys, and he said anything around more than 4 or 5 is considered pretty dilated, and she's at a 23, so she's like 6 times what the dilation should be. Through the ultrasound I asked, he said the top left of her kidney is indeed has renal scarring and it is damaged. But he has hope that the rest of her kidney will not be damaged. Of course, there's always a chance, but he feels that it will be okay. Instead of, after she's born, putting a splint in, he doesn't want to do anything while the baby's in utero because he said the risks just like greatly outweigh the benefits, which I completely agree. He said after she is born, he wants me to stay in the hospital for 48 hours. Normally, I always leave like right after my babies are born, home within 24 hours, but he really wants me to stay the 2 days because after my milk develops and she's been eating and stuff, he wants an ultrasound done of her kidney system just to kind of see exactly what's going on, and he wants the images sent to him before we're released from the hospital. So in case any interventions need to be done, he can come straight to the hospital, do any kind of procedure, not a surgery, but I'll explain what the procedure is in a second, and be released from the hospital then, so we're not having to make appointments and trying to get in places because it can create a whole mess. So when we check into the hospital, we're going to let the nurses know what's going on, make sure that they know that the ultrasound needs to be done within that 48 hours, all of the information sent over to him, and things like that. So basically what he wants to do is this little tiny bubble. He wants to get a very thin, fine needle, and he just kind of wants to rupture that like a balloon would and pop it, which will release all of the backed up urine and put pressure off of that kidney. He hopes that that will be a good enough fix and they won't have to do anything further. And as the kidneys develop over time, it'll just kind of help itself. And he said even in the 3rd trimester and even after she's born, kidneys are still developing and it could help the situation even before he has to do any kind of interventions. He's hoping to leave that little bubble popped at least until she's 3 months old and hope that there's no UTIs, no fevers, no complications. Anything that's over 101 and as a fever would be considered like a UTI probably in an infant. And if there's no complications, we're just going to leave it like that unless there's complications down the road. Say she comes out and she is having UTI, she is having fevers, then he would like to wait until she's at least 3 months old to put her under anesthesia to do any kind of surgery or anything that he would have to, but he doesn't think that that's even going to be necessary. And if it's really severe or really bad for some reason, he would do it before that in order to save the kidney. But as far as right now, he doesn't think that the rest of her left kidney is going to get damaged. And I even said, the other doctor had told us that it might have to be removed, and he said, no, I'm not in the business of taking kidneys out. I'm in the business of saving them, which made me feel so much better. So that was really good news. The only thing that he did say is that the only way it really could get worse is if this little sac right here that he needs to pop, if it starts enlarging and pushing up against the upper ureter and going into the right hand side, it could cause hydronephrosis, worse in her left kidney, or even spread it over into the right until it's popped. And he said when he does pop it, if it's having reflux go back up into this upper ureter that's up here, then that could also cause issues where they would have to do surgery and then take this part off and then reimplant it into the bladder to fix all of the corrections. As far as pregnancy goes, he's never had a mom in his practice that has lost so much amniotic fluid that they've had to do an emergency C-section to intervene, because that's the only reason he would intervene at this point. But the fluid looked good. He thought it looked good at all 3 doctor's offices that I've gone to, and I would just go into pregnancy as planned. He had me make an appointment for the week after my due date, so I have something set in stone in there because his office fills up really fast, and just in case I need to get in there and see him, I'm able to do that. But he just made us feel so much better knowing that surgery is not a for sure thing. Her kidney won't be taken out. He's doing all of his efforts to save it and make sure that everything is going to go as planned with as minimal as interventions as possible. So that's really good news. And I'm just hoping and praying that she's not going to be getting UTIs and fevers when she's a tiny little baby, because I would just feel so bad. And that's just like so much for her to have to go through. So I'm hoping that when he gets the sonogram or the ultrasound, that he is able to come in and like puncture that for her and get it released so it's not building up, which would be amazing. The only other thing that he said is it could be, instead of having these 2 ureters that are going into the bladder, as he said, sometimes you can't see it on ultrasound, but there can be some kind of like cysts that is blocking it, which makes it appear that it's that, but it's really not. And in that case, as the kidney enlarges, that cyst pretty much stays the same, which unblocks everything. As long as it's not growing and hurting any other organs, they just kind of leave it, and then there's no interventions to be done. But he said that's a very, very, very low chance, and he thinks his first theory is probably at this point what's the most accurate. My next ultrasound is going to be January 8th. He wants me to do it every 4 to 6 weeks just to check on it, so that way they can stay on top of it. I'm hoping baby Carly in there cooperates with us and we can get through this together. So that is pretty much it for this update. My next actual like glucose diabetes test is in a few days here, and I'm just hoping that that goes okay. I don't need anything else. This is enough for me to think about, but it definitely lifted a weight off my shoulders knowing that surgery is not a for sure, and that there might be some other methods to helping this before we have to reach that point.
Okay.
Follow sister.
Here.
Might have to help him.
Help? Oh, he got it.
Show him where to hold on to.
He got it.
Good job, buddy. Oh, he wants to go with you on your lap.
No, we gotta do it ourselves.
But he wants to do your lap the first time. Hold on to him. Whee! More?
Yeah. No, go this way now. This is now. Come on, Kayla, big house.
Oh. Elena, careful.
Mommy.
Have you got it, buddy?
Yep.
Don't fall.
Yeah.
You scared mommy. Got it? Okay.
We're going down and looking on out. Okay.
1, 2, 3. Woo!
This way now.
He says, wait for me, babe. Oh, he fell. He hurt his hands. You need sister, huh?
You okay? Yeah.
He says, wait for me, sissy. You want to try that one? You're going to go by yourself? Mommy can't go down the slide. No, he wants to go with you. Go! My sister! Wow! Good job, guys. And go.
5, 4, B.
Okay, and said ready or not, we're going. Start singing, Kira.
Ready to sing happy birthday?
Okay, you ready, Kylie? We're gonna sing.
I'm not.
To you, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday